Good morning, everybody. Today's Daf Yomi is going to start on the bottom of 58b, 9 lines from the bottom. The Gemara had been discussing the case of the Sikrikon. The Sikrikon are these people who were these non-Jews, and they took the Jewish land by force. It said, if you don't give us the land, we're going to kill you. So the rabbi said, well, then the person who owned the land has lost the land, and if somebody else comes along and buys the land from the Sikrikun after, some say, one opinion the Gemara is after 12 months. He has to wait 12 months first, but then he has to give back the discount that he got on the land by purchasing it from the Sikrikun. He has to give it back, and that discount is a quarter. But how do we figure out this quarter? So it said in the Mishnah, Amru al-Kach when the Sikrikun nosel and Balam Revia. He gives back to the original owner quarter. So Rav says that which the sage is established that he gives back to the original owner a quarter. What does it mean? Revia bekarka. He gives a quarter of the land, which is worth a quarter of the money that was given to the Sikrikon, or Revia b'maos, or he gives him a quarter of the money that he gave. Like, for example, if he gave him 100 zuz, then he has to give him 25 zuz to the owner, or he has to give him a portion of the land that's worth 25 zuz, and the owner gets to choose. Shmuel says, Revi bekarka. Shmuel says, no, he's going to give a quarter of the karka, a quarter of the land, change shlish b'mos, which is 1/3 of the money, meaning to say that he's saying that we look at it as what's called an outside quarter, meaning to say one more quarter of the total purchase price, which would have been, in this case, which would be 1/3 of the amount of money that you give. So basically, in this case, it would be 33 1/3. Okay? So Mar Savar Nachi Revia Zavin. So since he stole, one opinion is that Rav is at the position that Shmuel's other position that since the non-Jew stole the field, he's selling it at a discount of 1/4, and so therefore, if the Jew paid 100 zuz for it, so it's really worth 133 1/3 zuz, and therefore he has to pay that amount. Whereas Rav's other position that he paid Nachi Chumshas of him, he gave him a 20% discount, and so therefore, if he paid 100, it's really worth 125. So Meisvei, so the Gemara is going to challenge Shmuel from the following brisa, which is not explicit, but it really sounds like Rav. So the Mishnah says, Zo Mishnah Rishona, the brisa says that this was the position in the first Mishnah, that it says that if you buy from the Sikrikun, it's canceled. But Bezin Shalacharein said, El Kachmana Sikrikun Nosel Balam Revia Viat Balam Alyona. That if you purchase from the Sikrikun, you give to the owners the quarter, and the owners get to choose, which is like Rav's position. Ratzu bekarka notlan. If they want the land, they can take the land. Ratzu b'mos notlan. If they want the money, they can take the money. Amasai. When is this the case that he gets to choose? That when do we say that the buyer gets the land, but he has to pay a quarter? When the owner didn't have the ability to purchase back the land. But if the owner has the money, the original owner has the money to purchase it, he takes precedence over any other buyer. And Rebbe Hoshev Bezdin, Rebbe established a court, Rebbe established a court, and they voted, or they decided, Shem Shas, Bifnei Sikrikon, Shnei Maser Chodesh, and once the land remained with Sikrikon for 12 months, whoever wants to come and take it first can take it. But you have to pay the original owner a quarter of the land or a quarter of the money. Again, it sounds like they're following Rav's position, both in the ratio of the price and the seifa of the brisa. But anyway, this is a question on Shmuel. So it says Rav Ashi, that which we learned in the brisa, and you give a quarter of the money, that means of the total after it came into the hands of the owner, meaning to say no longer looking at the outside quarter, but the inside quarter, meaning to say that the amount that the owner gets is 1/4 of the total amount that the purchase paid for the field, and so therefore it's exactly like Shmuel. So you could read it like Shmuel's position. Then the Gemara tells us Amarat. The Rav taught that this is about, we're going to see the humility of the rabbis. I was amongst those who were taking a vote in Rebbe's court. Uminai didi manu bereisha, and for me they started first. Rashi says that Rav was one of the average rabbis amongst there, and then Rashi says, but I heard he was the lowest, so he started first. So normally the Gemara asks, but don't we learn in Sanhedrin, Dini Mamas Sataros Tumas Matfil Menagadol, that when it comes to monetary laws or laws, whether something is Tahora or Tameya, we start from the greatest, and on a capital case, we start from the side. In this case, Rav was from the side because he was not the greatest, and they were sitting in a semicircle, so not from the front. And so if that's the case, he was starting from. Why was he starting first if it was a monetary case? So I'm a rabbi, Brei the Rabbi, Tim Rapil, Brei the Rabboas, Shani Minyana de Be Rabbi, Tikul Minyana Manatzad, Havamafil. That Rabbi in his court, they always started not from the number one guy, but from the side. I'm a rabbi, Brei the Rabbi, Tim Rabbi Hillel, Brei the Rabbi Vilas. So once we cited Rabbi Vilas and Rabbi Abba in his name, Rabbi Hillel, Brei the Rabbi Vilas, he said another statement. From the time of Moshe until Rebbe, we never see Torah and greatness in one place. That a person that Rashi explains that this means that there's nobody who's so great in Torah and wealth like Moshe and Rebbe. Moshe, we know, was very wealthy. He became wealthy from the remnants of the tablets. That he got the rest of the tablets. They were made out of sapphire, and Rebbe was very wealthy as well. So the Gemara says, "V'lo v'ahav Yeshua." What about Joshua? So the Gemara says, "V'ahav Elazar." That Elazar was at the same time as him, but the Gemara says, "V'ahav Elazar." But the Gemara says, "What about Elazar? Who was the greatest?" Havik Pinchas. There was Pinchas at the same time. The Gemara says, "V'ahavik Pinchas." What about Pinchas? That was the Canaan. They were the elders. Avisho, what about Sho? Avishmuel. There was Shmuel. Vanach Navshe. So Shmuel died. The Gemara says, "Cool, Shana come in." No, we want him to be. We need him to be great from the time that he ascended to power. That he had it undisputed. Vave David. The Gemara says, "What about David?" The Gemara says there was Uriah, who was great Torah scholar. Like we say in Moed Katan, that he would sit the rabbis on pillows and beds all around him. So the Gemara says, but didn't. So the Gemara says, and the Gemara says, but he died, so he didn't outlast David. So the Gemara says, cool, Shana, come here. No, we need him to have been great, David, his whole life, undisputed. What about Chizkiah? Shivna. So Chizkiah, Rashi says, was a Melch Yehuda, and he was great in Torah. But Shivna was also Gadol b'Torah. Like he used to teach to 130,000 people at a time, and whereas Chizkiah was teaching to 110,000. So the Gemara says, "Ikdo," but Shimon was killed. Cool, Shani Kamrin. We need all the years of his life. Ave Ezra. What about Ezra? There was Nehemiah at the same time. So Gemara says, "Amar v'achabrei derava afani omer mi'emos Rebbe ba'ad Rav Ashi u'matzinu Torah gdul v'makom echad." From the time of Rebbe until Rav Ashi, we never find Torah and greatness in one space. So, by the way, why from Rebbe to Rav Ashi? So Rebbe is assumed to be the one who edited the Mishnah, and Rav Ashi is the one who assumed to have edited the Talmud. So you see these people, why is it called Torah and Gedula in one place? Because they used their Torah. Nobody ever used their Torah and their wealth, the gifts that they were given from Hashem, as great as they did. Rebbe used it to arrange the Mishnah. Rav Ashi used it to arrange the Talmud. What could be better than that? So the Gemara says, what about Huna Bar Nasan? Who was at the same time as Rav Ashi? Shani Huna Bar Nasan, the make of Havakayaf little Rav Ashi. He submitted himself to Rav Ashi. Then the Gemara tells us that if there's a chayresh, if there's a person who's a deaf mute, so he can't speak, Rome's v'nirmaz, he's able to hint, using hand motions to say what he wants to do, to make his transaction, and then it'll be valid. Ben Beseira says, kofetz v'nikvatz, that he can even be mouth the words, like lip movement. which is a greater leniency because it's considered to be less authoritative. And so therefore, Ben Becerra says you can only do that by metalton, by movable objects. Apautos, the small children, small children, their sales and their purchases and their sales are valid by movable objects. So the Gemara says, and this dispute between the Tanakama, who says that the Cherish can make hand motions and that'll be a way of making a transaction. Ben Becerra says he could even be kofates, he could even mouth his words. That's the case as it relates to movable objects of a Gittin, but when it comes to a get, to a divorce, divrei hakol b'ramiza, everybody says you can only do it with hand motions. So by again, everybody says you can only use hand motions. Pshita, the Gemara says, metalton tanan. It says in the Mishnah, and Ben Becerra says that he can mouth the words by movables. So the Gemara says, no, ma'od detema after metalton. He could even do it by metalton. You might have thought that get is more lenient than movable objects. Kamash malan. Or that we say it's not the case, that metalton is more lenient than get. Or ikada amri amrav nachman kemachokus for metalton kach machokus begittin. Alternatively, they say just like they dispute by metalton, they also dispute by gittin. The Gemara says, "Va'nan b'metalton tanan." But didn't we say in our Mishnah that they only argue by metalton? Ema after metalton. They're also arguing by metalton in addition to gittin. Hapautos, the young children, the mekachan mekach memkaran mekar b'metalton. The small children, their sale is valid. Purchases are valid by movable objects. Vad kama, and what's the age in which it becomes valid? Their sales. Machli Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yitzchak Berei. Rabbi Yehuda showed to Rabbi Yitzchak Berei right after we talked about having hand motions. Here's a hand motion: kabar shis or kabar shev, like 6 or 7. Rav Kana Amar kabar shev, kabar tana, like 7 or 8. Mastisa tana kabar tesha, kabar eser, like 9 or 10. Full puigi kol chad v'chad of forfeit. It depends on the kid. Depends how sharp he is. Some little children are so sharp that they could do it at 6 or 7. You could see they're obviously doing a business deal. So the Gemara says, the time of my what's the reason why we allow the child to engage in the business deals, even though he's a little child? Because he needs to live. He doesn't have an executor. This is a case where he doesn't have an executor. So because if he's not going to buy anything, how's he going to go in the store and buy food? Vayomer, and then it states in the pasuk in Melachim Bet, Vayomer la'asher al maltacha, utzei levush l'kol of de'abal, vayotze lama mabush. So he said to the one who was on the maltacha, take out the garments for all those who are the worshippers of Baal, and that was the way he was able to distinguish who wore the clothes who wore these special clothes, and he was able to punish them. My maltacha, Amar Bar Yaakov, Amar Yochanan. Something that is pressed and rubbed. So when Rav Dimi came in the name of Reb Yochanan, so he says, Shigerlo Bonium ben Nonium, that he said that he sent to him that Reb Yochanan said that a very wealthy man named Bonium ben Bunium sent to Rebbe Sivni, V'chomes, Salsal, and Mamon. These 4 types of linen. Sivni, V'chomas, they were so big that when you folded them up, Kamguzo, Palgi, Damguzo, it was like a nut and a half, even though they were so big, like the size of Rebbe, when he wore them. And Salsal, Malsal, they were so big, Kapiska, the Palgi Pista, like a nut and a half that goes on like an oak nut. And my Mamala, Davar, Nimol, V'nimtach. And then it's something that the word mamala means something that could be stretched and spread out. And the ta'usanad kama. And okay, when you're dealing with a child, what's the laws if you make a mistake in the purchase price? When can you undo it? So the Gemara says, "I'm Rabbi Zera, achdus ke gadol," that you have up until the size of a amount of a 6, like an adult. Meaning to say that by an adult, if you overcharge by a 1/6 or more, that's called the lavona, and the sale is going to be voided. And so therefore, this same laws applies to a purchase from a child. It's 1/6 above or below the purchase price. The standard price. what is the law with respect to a gift? If a minor gives a gift, so says his gift is not a gift. His gift is a gift, because we might have said, since we're saying that the whole purpose is so that he can live, well, what does his gifts have to do with it? Or you could say, well, no, a gift also you need to help him with. As we said earlier in our Gemara, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So maybe a gift, he's getting something out of it. So the Gemara says, what's the law with respect to a gift? Mar Bar Avashi says it's a valid gift. Abchua, they reversed his position. They said that Mar Bar Avashi said it's not a valid gift for Shachua Kamed Rav Mordechai. And they sent it to Rav Mordechai. Amar Lei Zilu Amar Labar Mar Amar Labar Mar Lav Hachi Have Uvda. So he says, but didn't we have the following case? Meaning they send it to the son of the Mar, meaning send it to the son of Rav Ashi. Didn't we learn that when Rav Ashi was standing on one leg on the ground and one leg on the step, and we said to him, what's the law about the gift of a minor? And he said, matanaso matana. He says a minor's gift is a gift. And he told us, and the minor's gift is a gift, whether it's he's dying or whether he's healthy, whether it's a large gift or a small gift. And so that's the halacha. A minor can give a gift. So now the Mishnah says, these are the halachos that the rabbi said for the sake of peace. What are these halachos? Kohen Kori Rishon, v'acharav Levi, v'acharav Yisrael. Kohen reads first, after him comes the Levi, and after him comes the Yisrael, and they darkei shalom, in order to bring peace. So, because if they don't do that, then people are going to fight. Who gets the first aliyah? I'm a big rabbi. I get the first aliyah. I'm the wealthy man in the town, or I'm the one who does all the work in the minyan. I should get the first aliyah. No. For the sake of peace, we say the Kohen goes first, then the Levi, then the Yisrael. And I will say this, by the way, I've been in a lot of shuls my whole life. I've seen people fight over anything, all stupidity in the world, but I never saw Yisrael try to take an aliyah from a Kohen. So the rabbis did establish that the right way. That you're allowed to, they used to keep the Eruv, which marked that everybody has a partnership so that they could carry on Shabbos. So they would keep it in the same house that it was in precedent for the sake of peace. On top of 59b, Borshu Karvam, let's say there was a canal or a stream that came down, and people wanted to have backup, so they'd fill up the cisterns with water. So the cistern that was closest to the canal, that mitmaler rishon, that was the order in which it got to fill up first, and they darkei shalom, for the sake of peace. If you trapped wild animals, and if you caught fish, then, and even though you haven't picked it up yet, that's theft. Somebody else will come along and take it from your traps because of the sake of peace. Rabbi Yossi says gezel kama. Rabbi Yossi says it's actual theft, not just for the sake of peace. And let's say a minor or a deaf mute finds a lost object, you get to keep it. You get to keep it because of darkei shalom. Rabbi Yossi says gezel gamor. Rabbi Yossi says it's actual theft. Let's say you're a poor man and you're knocking down the olives off of the tree, but you didn't actually pick them up. You did the work, you knocked them down, now, but you don't acquire until you actually pick it up. So our Mishnah says, actually what's underneath it, what falls down, if somebody else steals it, it's stealing because of shalom, because of peace. Rabbi Yossi says, gezel gamor, it's actual theft. If a idolatrous poor man comes to take your gleanings, your leket shecha peah, your food from your field, you don't tell him that it's only a law for a Jew and we can't give you. No, you give it to him in order to create peace. So the Gemara says, what's the reason why the Kohen comes in? And the Levi, so the pasuk says, Menani Mili, Amar Rav Masa, Amar Krav Yichtal Moshe as a Torah Zosvei, now Kohanim b'nei Levi. Moshe wrote this Torah and he gave it to the Kohanim, the sons of Levi. We know the Kohanim are the sons of Levi. Now a Kohen b'reisha v'adar Levi. It means a Kohen first and then a Levi. Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha says, the Kohanim, the sons of Levi, came close. Don't we know that the Kohanim are the sons of the Levi? And Kohen Bereisha of other Levi. Kohen comes first and then the Levi. Ravashi says from here, Bnei Amram, Aaron Moshe, Vayibadel Aaron Latisho Kodesh Kadashim, Uvanav Adolam. So we see that the sons of Aaron, of Amram, were Aaron and Moshe, and Aaron was separated to be holy of holies. So he comes first. Here, Barabba says, Me'achav Kidashto, that it says in the pasuk, Kidashto Kislam, Chamel Kefal Makriv, L'chol Davar Shabakdusha. The Kohen comes first for every matter of holiness. In time of very small, Kidashto, L'chol Davar Shabakdusha. What does that mean? With Doach Rishon, the Kohen makes he is the one who is Poteach Rishon. He's the one who starts the Torah reading. It's the first Aliyah. Varach Rishon, he's the one who makes the bracha on the bread first. V'lito maniyah for Rishon, he gets the first portion. He gets the best portion. So what does he get the best portion of? So Rashi says if he wants to divide anything with the Jew, after they divide equally, the Jew has to say to him, Beror v'tol ezish shetir. So you take the portion that you want. Amar Abaye Rav Yosef. So Abaye turns to his Rabbi Rav Yosef. Why do you say that all these are in order to create peace? Isn't it a biblical law that this is what has to happen? So Amar Diaraisa made Darkei Shalom. So he says it's the biblical law, and it's like Darkei Shalom. This reminds us of what Rabbi Shimon said earlier in the Gemara. We said Rabbi Shimon Darish time with the Kra. Rabbi Shimon would explain the reasoning for the verse. So here too, we're saying the Mishnah is that the reason why the Torah commanded it is because of Darkei Shalom. So Gemara says, well, so right here we say it's a biblical law. So the Rishonim argue, is it really a biblical law? The Rambam and the Chinuch say, yeah, it's a mitzvah a sefer in the Torah to honor the Kohanim. But according to Tosfos, it's not a mitzvah from the Torah. It's just an asmachta. It's a support. So the Gemara says, so Abai responds to Rav Yosef, well, the whole Torah was written for the sake of peace. That's the whole essence of the Torah. So Abaye says that really the reading of the Torah that's going comes first is biblical. And when our Mishnah says Darkei Shalom, it's teaching us another halacha. As it states, Titania, Shnayim Matinin Zelazebekar. Let's say there are two people who are eating together, and one has to get up for whatever reason and leave the table for a moment. The second person has to wait. Shlosha, but if there's three people in Mamtinin and one person gets up, the other two don't have to wait. Abotzea who posha yadot tefila, that the person who breaks the bread, he's the one who sticks his hand first into the food and dips the bread in the food. And if you want to give honor to your master or to your Rebbe or to somebody who's greater than you, you have permission. The Amar Marala, we learned about it. When can you give the honor? When is the Kohen allowed to give the honor to somebody who's greater than him by a meal? Of a basic Knesset, low. But in a synagogue, the Kohen is not allowed to start waving his honors because then it's going to come to be a fight. God forbid, is going to come to fight. And Amar Amas, other Amars, but basic Knesset, low. When do we say that you can't wave your honors in the synagogue only on Shabbos and Yom Tov because there's a lot of people there? But on Monday and Thursday you can wave your honors because there's not a lot of people. Gemara says, Aini, is it really the case that you're not going to wave your honors? The Kohen can't wave his honors in the synagogue. So anyway, what the Gemara's answer was that when we said we made Darkei Shalom, it means that because of peace, the Kohen can't wave his honors in this synagogue. Gemara says, but what about the fact that Rav Kuna read from the Torah on Shabbos and Yom Tov from the Kohen Aliyah? Gemara says, well, Shani Rav Huna Dafu Rav Yami Rabasi Kohani Chashiv Deretz Shal Mekav HaVekaifoi. Rav Huna was different because we already saw that he was subservient to Rav Ashi on the first page, but here we see that so it's like the Mishnah tells us, whoever runs from honor, honor runs after him. Even Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi were the distinguished Kohanim of Eretz Yisrael, that they would bow down to him. This has to be a different Rav Huna than the Huna Bar Nasan, because Rav Ali and Rav Asi are earlier Amoraim, and Huna Bar Nasan was very, very late. So this has to be a different Rav Huna than the Huna Bar Nasan who appears on Amud Aleph. So he says that since Rav Huna was the greatest of his generation, and the Kohanim Chashim would bow down to him. So the Rambam's position in this Pirush HaMishnayos is indeed that if you have a Kohen and a Yisrael, that the Kohen comes first only if they're equal. But the Yisrael, if he's a Talmud Chacham, he comes before the Kohen, who's an Amma Aretz. However, today we don't know who's a Torah scholar and who's an Amma Aretz. And so therefore, I've never seen that Yisrael is the Talmud Chacham comes before a Kohen Amma Aretz. Amar Abaye Natinan, we have a principle. Ein Sham Kohen. Let's say there's no Kohen there in the synagogue, but there are Levites to get the Aliyah. Nisparda Chavila. The string is broken, and the Levi. So what does this mean? If there's no Kohen, though, the string is broken. So Rashi tells us Nifsak HaKesher. The knot is broken. Ibed HaLevi es kevodo. The Levi lost his honor. B'shvil chavilaso hanifredes. His package is broken. Be'eno korakwal. The Levi doesn't read at all. So if there's no Kohen, the Levi doesn't get the Aliyah. Kach amar Mori Azaken, Mori Rabbi Yitzchak ben Yehuda. V'chein say there, see there of Amram. So that's what Rashi says. Here is quoting. Here he says Mori Azaken and also Rabbi Yitzchak ben Yehuda. But so who is he referring to when he says here Mori Azaken, my elder? So we first have to read the rest of the Rashi. So the first position that Rashi quotes of Mori Azaken, of his elder, is that the Levi doesn't get an Aliyah at all. And then he attributes his position also to Rabbi Yitzchak ben Rav Yehuda, and he says this is also the position of Rav Amram Gaon. But then Rashi says, from the students of my teacher, Rabbi Yitzchak HaLevi, I heard that, what does it mean? So he says, I heard another position that the Levi can go first, that the Levi can also come before the Levi, the Yisrael. But who is Rashi referring to? That when he says Mori Hazaken, it can't be Rabbi Yitzchak HaLevi, and it can't be Rabbi Yitzchak ben Yehuda. So maybe it's he sometimes quotes Reb Yehuda ben Yakar. So maybe that's what he's referring to here when he says Mori Hazaken. But we see the two opinions in Rashi. First opinion is the Levi doesn't read at all. The second opinion is if you want, you could call the Levi for an Aliyah. Is this really the case? Amar Bai Naktina Ein Sham Levi Kori Kohen. Let's say there's no Levi there. You read the Kohen again. You call the Kohen. You call another Kohen the second time. Any Amar Rabbi Yochanan Kohen after Kohen Lo Yikra. Can't call one Kohen after a Kohen. Mishum Begam Shall reach him, because then the first Kohen will say, oh, maybe he wasn't a Kohen. Levi Achar Levi Lo Yikra Mishum Begam Shneim. You don't call one Levi after another Levi because maybe say the first one wasn't a Levi, and therefore they're calling up the second guy to be the Levi, or maybe you'll say the second guy wasn't a Levi, he was just a regular Yisrael. So the Gemara says, no, ki kamrina, but also Kohen. No, we say the same Kohen is called twice. So if there's no Levi, you call the Kohen twice. Ma'ishna Levi achar Levi, di'ika pagam b'shneim, ta'mechamin have Levi. Why by Levi do we not call one Levi after the other? Because we say maybe one of them was not a Levi. Well, Kohen after Kohen nami, Amri chaminai have Kohen. Why, if it's one Kohen after another Kohen, why don't we say one of them is not a Kohen? Gemara says could go into Muchsalam Bavua Dai Sheni. The Kohen. No, we know that the second guy is for sure a Kohen. Gemara says, "Oh, Hachanami, the Muchsalam Bavua Sheni, the Levi." Well, maybe we know for sure that he's a Levi. Ella Amri Mamzeres Onesina. So the Gemara says the Kohen. The problem is we could say that for sure. I'll say the second one. Maybe he was a Kohen, but he married a woman he wasn't allowed to. Now he married a Mamzeres Onesina. Who Pasla was there, and he disqualified his seed. Gemara says Hachanami. Also by the Kohen, you could say Grusha Chalutin Nasif. Just will say that the Levi, just like we could say the Levi married a Mamzer Shemesina and disqualified him, maybe from being a Levi, maybe married a Grucha Chalutz and he disqualified him from being a Kohen. So if Levi Mika Have. So the Gemara says, in the end, if his father married somebody who was disqualified to him, he wouldn't be a Levi. He's like a regular Israel, and we wouldn't call him second. And so therefore, since we're concerned, we're not going to be concerned about the Kohen. We'll read this passage again at the end. We'll do this. We'll start here tomorrow's daf. So we'll start it quickly, and we'll do tomorrow's daf at noon today, and also on Shabbos Kodesh. We'll stop here. Hold on.